Just in time for another eBay unboxing. Let's check out what just arrived. All right, so we know the postage paid was $5, and the seller probably charged me more. That's what they usually do, but I don't care. If I want something, I don't care about shipping cost. Well, I mean, I do. I don't want it to be like 80 doll hairs. All right, so it's going to be an antique, and I don't even know what it is. There's so many things that I ordered this week that I am unsure. All right, let's keep going. Let's get in here. And it looks like somebody reused their own envelope. And we might end up seeing their address. Yes, their address is on there. So I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to do this off camera a moment because I don't want some poor sucker's address to be out there. And then you crack maniacs will show up at his door. And that's a term of endearment, by the way, for my subscribers. Usually anyone who follows me is a crack maniac. That's like our gang, the crack maniacs. All right. Yeah, this guy's address is here and we don't want to see it. Okay, there we go. All right, no doxing. All right, so it says fragile, special, handle with care. Like if he put this on the outside of the package, did he? No, he didn't, or she. My actual mailman told me this. Now, this is for all you sellers out there. If you put the word fragile, I know it's fragile, but I'm being like cute right now. If you put the fragile sticker on your box, guess what they do? My mailman, my longtime mailman, told me never put the fragile sticker on there. Why? Because he said the people that handle the mail in the hub, they actually kick it harder, throw it farther, and stomp on them when they're in a bad mood and they see the fragile sticker. See, he said, just don't. Just don't. So that opened my eyes because I used to be a seller myself with fragile items. And I was like, what? You guys really do that? He's like, I don't, but they do. And who knows? Maybe he does it also. All right, fragile. What the hell is this? I don't even know. Okay. Oh, look at this. We got another fragile. Wow, this seller really wants me to know that this is fragile. And I know you crack maniacs in the comments are going to be like, no, it's pronounced fragile. Yes, I'm aware of it. Like I said, I'm being cute. Or am I? All right, here we go. It's like entombed over here. What the hell could it be? What the hell could it be? Oh, I know what it is. Oh, okay. So I spied this in the middle of the night. Would have buy it now. Would have make an offer. Okay, I could have made an offer. And I was like, sometimes I'm totally on top of making offers. The minute I see that word make an offer, I just totally, completely make an offer. But in this case, I just wanted it, right? It was the middle of the night. And I was like, yeah, by the time I make an offer, the seller is going to take 20 hours to get back to me. I just want the thing. And I paid full price like a schmuck. Maybe not. All right, so what do we have here? We have a portrait painting. Now, lots of people that collect almost like those fancy, I call them fancy antiques. Fancy antiques, meaning French style, Rococo style, those fancy type of antiques like Meissen porcelain, French porcelain, even antique exquisite glass. Always look for these miniature porcelains on I'm losing it. Miniature paintings on porcelain. Miniatures, generally. You can't really find any cheap ones out there. And this one was $59.95, I believe it was. I think it was like $7 or $8 in shipping. Hence, she only paid $5. Not going to complain or bitch over that. All right. The packing materials alone, all those fragile stickers that she spent money on is worth it. Okay, so here we go. We got Queen Louise of Prussia. Oh God, my New York accent makes Prussia sound terrible. Here, I'll say it very, very eloquently. Prussia. Okay, so it's Queen Louise of Prussia. And Prussia. Probably pronounced it incorrectly. Don't be a prick in the comments below. Is it you pronounced that incorrectly? People love to do that. It's like in school, you want to be the teacher's pet. Ooh. I know the answer. Listen, I know you know the answer. Just shut up. I'm only kidding. I love you guys. I'm not that much of a prick. All right, so here we go. we got this gorgeous setting. Now, she said brass pin, and she said with portrait painting. She did not know this was Queen Louise. Now, in 18, I believe it was 18, if I'll have to Google this in a few minutes and we'll go over it, but I believe it was in 1879 or 1877. There was a famous painter by the name of Gustav Richter, and she was dead already. So Queen Louise was already, oh, there goes the dogs to bomb my video. I'll be back. Okay, so it was in 1879 that Gustav Richter painted that painting. He was a German painter. His paintings were very good, but there was really no interest in him until his 1879 painting of Queen Louise. And so what happened was it set off a firestorm of everything Queen Louise. And so there would be loads of German porcelain manufacturers and French porcelain manufacturers making plaques, porcelain plaques with paintings of Queen Louise of Prussia. Things, articles of like objects de virtue, like boxes, like fancy jewelry boxes, either also like mirrors, like hand mirrors. On one side would be a picture of Queen Louise of Prussia. On the other side would be the bristles or the mirror. It would be a hairbrush or a mirror. You'd see them on pillboxes, on all sorts of objects de virtue. And so she became after her death, right after her death, she died many decades before that, in the 1700s. Actually, she was Napoleon's. Yes, she was the Emperor of France, Napoleon's arch enemy, basically. She actually told them off because he wanted her to join his side. And instead, she joined the other side. Well, she actually had very big influence with her husband, who was the King of Prussia. And she basically told him, absolutely do not go on Napoleon's side. They were on Napoleon's side at first for protection because Prussia really did not have an army. You know, they couldn't beat Napoleon. And then she told her husband, hey, this isn't cool. And then she met Napoleon. She had the balls. Now she's a hero. She's known as I can never say this right. A heroine? No, not like as a heroin addict. A woman hero. Okay, so basically she was like a woman cult hero. Okay, at the time. She basically went down to meet Napoleon in person. The husband thought it would be a good idea, the king, because she was so beautiful. He probably figured, yay, my wife will have more street cred than I will. And so she went down there. She actually kneeled, got on her hands and knees for the sake of Prussia, and begged Napoleon not to fuck around and leave them alone. They wanted to be neutral. Basically, it was a neutral country. They wanted to be left alone. And then she got a little mouthy with Napoleon, for the day, for that time frame. It was considered a woman shouldn't speak to a man, about politics or anything like that. And Napoleon quipped to his wife, Josephine, she's a dangerous little beauty. Don't be jealous, Josephine. She's beautiful, but she's a danger. And so what did Napoleon do? He gutted Prussia, basically gutted it. But the people loved her so much that they hailed her all over the place. So Gustav Richter, making this painting popular in 1879 after her death, she was known to wear scarves, flowing scarves, blowing behind her around her neck. Why? Because she was afraid of catching a disease or illness. And sadly, she died at 34 of an illness. And very young. Okay, so here we go. Now let's look at some of the Gustav Richter paintings that you'll find antique on porcelain, mainly on miniatures or porcelain plaques. Some companies by the name of KPM, it's an acronym for a long German word, made these beautiful porcelain plaques in gorgeous gold gesso frames at the time. And they would have lots of different paintings. It just wasn't Queen Louise of Prussia, but beautiful ladies and queens and kings and just portraits. And those ones go for, oh my God, $5, $10, $15, $20,000. And then a lot of other German companies or porcelain manufacturers were making miniatures on porcelain. Now, this wasn't just towards the 1870s. This was done as early as the Regency era or the Rococo era, the time of Napoleon. And so, yeah, I don't know if I got my history right, but I think Napoleon was around that time. Companies such as, and I'm going to say it wrong, Sevres, it's spelled Sevres, another French, it's a French porcelain manufacturer who made exquisite porcelain pieces that were painted and enameled, also made these little miniature plaques on porcelain, on boxes, jewelry boxes, trinket boxes, sugar caskets, all sorts of things, vases. And so when you find a little whimsy little portrait on porcelain that's not transferware, and you might be like, what the hell is transferware? Now, I'm showing you other things. Now, here's the original painting of Queen Louise by Richter. It's not going to look identical. You know what I'm saying? But this is like really spot on and very good. Very well done. Now, what I was saying was, I don't even remember because I think I'm having dementia. Not making fun of people with dementia, trust me. But my brain just like goes in 50 different directions. So, yeah. What I was saying was about Sevres making all these little pieces. The German manufacturers were well known for making miniature portraits on porcelain and larger plaques, which always go for big bucks. This one is actually pretty good. Now, transferware. A lot you will find will be transferware stencils. So they'll have a stencil and they'll paint over the stencil, and it's not hand painted. But this is hand painted, really quite lovely. And what's even more lovely about it is, look how small this is. Now, this is a big brooch. This is a giant brooch. But do you know how hard it is to paint a portrait on something this small? Like, seriously, like, look at that. That is not hard. So this is actually a work of art. This is like, if you collect paintings, right? Antique paintings. It's a painting. It's art. And especially in miniature. And what's great about miniatures is if you have a bulging collection where it's like, oh my God, your house is like filled with antiques. These are easy to store. You could just place it somewhere in a drawer and it's not going to get the husband angry calling you a hoarder. All right, so what am I noticing? I'm trying to find out the age of this. So now we know that Gustav Richter made the painting in 1879. So we know this pin has to have been made after 1879. Now, things with Queen Louise on it were actually made after the Victorian era as well, on into the early 20th century. Armand Marseille of Germany, a German doll manufacturer from the 1800s and early 20th century, even made a doll called Queen Louise. Yes, I have her in my collection. Queen Louise went on into the early 20th century up until about the 20s, and then boom, these little miniature portraits on porcelain were no longer really being made. Instead, the cheap way was being done. So they would make little trinket boxes with little, right in the center, like you'd have a box. Here, I'll give you an example. Oof, that's like nails on a blackboard. So here is one of my antique bohemian glass boxes. So it would have like a portrait in the center. Right? The old ones that are hand painted like this are freaking worth a bit. Oh my God. They sell for hundreds, if not thousands. If you see a miniature portrait on a box, yeah, they go for a lot. So in the 20s, when they made trinket boxes and little powder boxes, they would just put prints inside a piece of glass, and it was a print and it wasn't even painted. And they would mass produce those for really cheap. Now, how old is this? Now, I do not know if this is brass. I'm trying to look at this. It looks almost like something called Niello. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Niello. And it's like black. Oh, come on, focus, damn it. It's like black enamel work inside with whatever other metal. And whether it be copper or brass or silver. Usually you'll see a lot of pieces called silver Niello, whatever you want to call it. I can't pronounce it correctly. Don't be a prick in the comments below. I don't care if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But I don't know if this is Niello work. I'm trying to, let me go into the, I mean, it could be. I mean, because I see dark It could be just tarnish. You know, let's look at the back. Now, what we have here to try to date our brooch, we have an early C catch. So a C catch usually denotes Victorian. Whenever you see a C catch, if you see a rollover from 1890s to the early 20th century into the mid-centuries and to now, were safety catches where they roll over. Now, that is one clue. Now let's go ahead and look at this end. If it had a tube hinge, where it's a flat tube and not a round hinge, that would denote really old Victorian or before. Now that we have the round hinge, this is telling me this could have been made in the 1890s on to about, I'd say about 1900-ish. Okay, so I don't have a date. Now sometimes you'll see little marks on the back of the porcelain, and it might even have a stamp of the porcelain maker, which was usually German, or it might say Germany. Let's see if we can get that. Sorry if this video is boring. Why can't I get the pin out? Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm trying to look for some marking. Sometimes it's just hidden. You cannot find it, and my camera just does not like to focus. But I do know this is unmistakably German. It looks like at one time it had a backing that was made out of some kind of like fabric. So fabric covered the back of this pin. That's really neat. Do we see any markings of metal content? Let's go ahead and check. Most likely brass. You know, these things were mass produced. Although the portrait is very, very good. I do see something up here. I don't know if it's a gouge. But right here, you do see something. Wait. I don't know if you, looks, come on, focus, enhance. It looks like something. So I'm going to test this. This could be vermeil, like a gold wash over silver. And I'm going to give it a quick test. I'm going to clean it up, and we're going to come back, and we're going to come to a conclusion about our Queen Louise pin. And did I pay a good price for it? Absolutely no silver. It would have turned milky white. And could be 9K. Or 9K plated. I do see the line is still there. I don't know if you could see that. But the line is still there under the fluid. So it could be like a 9K. This is, yeah, this is definitely not silver either. It would have showed a milky, because I use 18 karat fluid for that. It would have showed a milky, almost like opal, like cloudy look. And yeah, it's probably plated. All right, so I cleaned it up. I tried my best not to take the patina off of it. All I did was a light dusting of a silver polishing rag and a little simichrone, because you don't want verdigris on this. If you get any kind of verdigris on the metal, over time, the moisture and the changes in temperature will actually destroy and eat away at the metal. So you want to get as much verdigris off of old metal as you can without harming the patina. And what I mean by patina, if you've never heard of what that word is, that means like the aging that's done on old metal. And so here we go. Now this is actually really good hand-painted rendition of Queen Louise. Again, this is most likely German, although it's unmarked. I did clean the back as best as I could. I see like a little mark on the top. It looks like a little impression, but I can't really, yeah, I see something. Hold on. Let me just put my camera on the stand, or actually, let's try to zoom in there if we can. I don't like putting the portrait, hold on one second. I don't like putting the portrait down on the hard counter. So let us actually try to get in there. And I don't know if that's a mark. I don't know what the hell that is. It could be, it looks like an impression in the metal. But what does it mean to me? It means absolutely nothing. I see, let's see, do we see any marks? I do see some marks in the porcelain, but it looks like impressions of numbers. And they would have had numbers in the porcelain, especially if you see these old plaques, whether they're miniature or larger. They'll usually have impressions of numbers in them, sometimes a country of origin. So this is probably telling me this was made before it was the law in 1890, I believe it was, the McKinley Tariff Tax Act of 1890, where everything that came into the U.S. had to be marked with a country of origin. Although the round hinge is throwing me off. Now the round hinge actually looks like it's handmade. So it doesn't look like a mass-produced round hinge. So I'm going to go with this was made sometime in the late, very, very, very late 1880s to just about around the time right before McKinley made that thing. Unless someone immigrated from Germany to the United States after 1890 and brought this with them. And there didn't have to be a rule because they just brought it with them. It was their own brooch that they wore. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, she was a dangerous little beauty. She was a folk hero to her nation. And now where is Prussia? I don't even know. Let's Google that. Thirst for knowledge. Maybe you don't. You probably hit the back button a long time ago. Germany. Okay, Prussia. German Prussian. Polish Prussia. In European history, any of certain areas of Eastern and Central Europe, respectively, the land of the Prussians on the southeastern coast of the Baltic Sea, which came under Polish and German rule in the Middle Ages. The kingdom ruled from 1701 by German and yeah. Okay, do we have to like go through this whole thing? But oh, here we go. Here we go. From the in 1701 by the German Hohenzollern dynasty, including Prussia and Brandenburg, with Berlin as its capital, which seized much of the northern Germany and western Poland in the 18th and 19th centuries, and united Germany under its leadership in 1871. Oh, shut up, Britannica. Oh, my God. All right. Hold on. Okay. And yeah, it came under United Germany under its leadership in 1871, and the land state created after the fall of the whole Hohenzollerns in 1918, which included most of their former kingdom and which was abolished by the Allies in 1947. The original Prussians, mainly hunters and cattle breeders, spoke a language belonging to the Baltic group. Okay, these early Prussians and blah, 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 are Prussians, German, or Polish. The Prussians were historically a Balto-Slavic stock, and Prussia covered about 10 different countries, including Lithuania. The extent relatives of the extant, never heard of that word, relatives of the Prussians. Yes, the Prussians were German in a sense that they were influenced by and acculturated to the German language and customs. Interesting. Her real name was, before she was queen, was Louise of Mecklenburg Straits. And she was known as a really, like, amazing beauty. Let's look at images. And here we go. She always wore those scarves around her neck. And there we go. There's many, many different images of her that you will see. And here we go. And she was known as a really great beauty. Here we go. Here's more. And again, there are always a lot of these antique porcelain plaques that you will see sold $3,750. This is a KPM plaque. I was telling you about these plaques. Estimate was $1,500 to $2,500. Sold for $3,750. A plaque on porcelain, late 19th century. And they would come in these really ornate frames. Loads of them to be found. So if you collect $451 for this miniature, $1,480 for this plate, $5,850 for a KPM plaque of Queen Louise. Here we go. There's more. $14,856 for a KPM German porcelain plaque. They made cheap in the early 20th century, probably about 1900. They made cheap plates with her image on it. Brooches. Here's one for $325. Here's another brooch, $250 with brass. Yeah, I did good on mine. Here's more plates, more objects you'll find with Queen Louise if you collect. Here's a brooch, $250. Yeah, I mean, not the same as mine, but there you go. You got brooches, you got plaques, you got plates, you got her picture was on everything. Okay, here we go. Here's more, and it's great to collect Queen Louise. Queen Louise is not cheap on certain things. Like this is a cheap plate. This plate you see here, this is all stenciled. Still $99. This, again, is a stenciled plate. It's transferware. and it's only $32. But if you get hand-painted Queen Louise, it's worth a heck of a lot more than if you get one that's transferware. Here's a cheap transferware version. You can see that's not hand-painted. Here's another one, Royal Vienna plate. Now, Royal Vienna hand-painted, $550. Wow. Okay, so see, these are all the things you can get with Queen Louise on them. And it just keeps going and going and going. Here's a hand-painted portrait, miniature, and really beautiful. Here's more pieces. I think this is a brooch. We got another porcelain plaque. Let's see. And this one sold for $3,750 on porcelain. So as you can see, why did I pay $59? I think it was $59 and like 95 cents, buy it now, make an offer. Why didn't I make an offer? Because I thought that was more than fair of the seller, and I just wanted it, all right? I was afraid somebody else was going to see this and they were going to buy it immediately, because when you see a Queen Louise of Prussia, painted, hand-painted, we're not talking about stencil ware or transfer ware, hand-painted on a porcelain disc, okay, in a beautiful, beautiful ornate frame, whether it be a brooch or one of those things in a frame, like a painting frame, grab it. If you see it for 59 bucks, you don't want anyone else to grab it. That's why I wasn't going to quibble. I wasn't going to quibble over the price, and I grabbed it, and oh my God, I love it. So again, it's probably from the 1890s is my guess. I don't think it's later than the 1890s. I could tell by the shape of the frame and the style. Look at the style. That really, really great, beautiful Art Nouveau. That's what I forgot to mention to you guys. It's a very Art Nouveau in style. Art Nouveau was an art movement from around the 1890s to about 1905-ish. And it had this beautiful stylized flowers and ornate, naturalistic looking dippy type of flowers that bordered around things. It went around. So I'm going to guess this is like from the Art Nouveau age and era. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys all soon. And go find yourself a Queen Louise of Prussia something right now, but antique. And don't get it stenciled or transferware. Find this. It's a piece of art. So I got a miniature painting in my hand that I could wear. And I just love it. All right, see you guys all soon, and so long.